Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Warcraft Radio's playthrough of Bastion Part 5. My name is Kexman, and obviously on the last part you saw us cleansing, in quotations, the Temple of Purity. Kind of ironic given the name of that particular temple. We now move on to the Mnemonic Locus, which is a place that memories are stored. We can use to access previous memories, and we're hoping with our fragment of Lissandria we can actually go and cleanse this person. We can go and cleanse this Kyrian, this Forsworn, and see if we can actually find out exactly what happened on the lead up to the attack at the Temple of Purity. There's a nice little bit of discussion there between Pelagos and Clea, mentioning that one of them doesn't want the other one to anything to happen to them. It's nice to see a little bit of underlying camaraderie between the two of them, potentially even some form of deeper relationship. At the Mnemonic Locus we are introduced to Mechanikos, who is a steward. He seems to have a little bit more to him than the previous stewards who have just been there to serve. He seems to have actually created something. In this area we are also introduced to Locus Keeper Nemis, who is the controller of this area. Seems to have locked the stewards and the other Kyrians out, handed it over to the Forsworn. This area is quite a simple kill quest. You're meant to gather 12 cores. You're also meant to pick up various different notes. You're looking for a specific manual. You're looking for the Locus manual. It can be quite frustrating. I've seen people that have been on this for about 10-15 minutes, so I'm not sure whether the drop rate differs slightly depending on sort of whether you're in a phase or how many people are currently doing it. It's quite nice that the ones that you do pick up don't just have generalised names. There are some quite comedic names on there. Gives it a little bit of additional flavour as you are doing the quest. You're not just not looking at them. You go, okay, actually, that's quite comical. That does relate. Once we have found all these, we move over to the Locus, which we need to charge up the anima conduits. This is the first time that we've seen anima mentioned in quite some time. Most of the time we've been dealing with the Temple of Purity and people praying to sort of give their memories away, to forget who they used to be. It seems as though a lot of the quote-unquote technology that is in this area seems to be powered through anima, and I'm sure as we go into the different zones that's going to become more and more important. Of course, we don't fully know how anima is realised in the other areas. We don't even know how it's realised, if at all, in the Maw, because we haven't visited there yet. We do know that there is a certain similar currency to anima in a recently released deep dive on Torghast that was released today, so probably see a little bit more of that come the actual Maw scenario. Once we've powered up the Locus, it is now time to introduce Lissonia, the fragment of Lissonia, on to the Locus, and we can sort of dive into her memories. This to me seems like a little bit of a missed opportunity by Blizzard when we come to the actual design of the quest. This one isn't a typical kill quest, it isn't a typical collect items. This one you are running over the various different memories, and very specific memories, to help charge up the fragment, if you will. It does seem slightly odd, but it's kind of how it's shown, and they all relate to Kyrians. Sometimes you'll get a volatile memory that you'll have to fight, but it's nothing particularly dangerous. Now, I understand obviously that memories are generally forgotten, but I would imagine that as a Forsworn there would be some memories that would remain, and if this is the case, I would have liked to have seen some hints as to who Lissonia was before all of this, or even if Lissonia was of Azeroth. Could have been a position for them to introduce potentially a new model or a new sort of character potentially. It's difficult to say how long that would take them. It would probably take them slightly too long to do that, but it's an idea that they could potentially explore in the future. Again, this whole zone does seem to have quite a large area of mystery around it. There doesn't seem to be any specific, this is who this character was before, with the exception of Uther, who seems to have kept his name from before he became a Forsworn, which Whether or not is that something that happens to everyone, or do people choose their own names? Again, this is something that hasn't been explored yet. Once we have completed this, it's then on to another phase of this where we use soul mirrors to draw out even more memories. This is an interesting idea I'd like to see Blizzard explore more. It doesn't necessarily have to be in this patch, it can be in future patches. Maybe we will explore the memories and lives of previous characters. Maybe we potentially do this with Uther. There have been data mined models of an Uther that is a Kyrian model, not a Forsworn model. So it's entirely possible that this is what we use to actually bring him back over to the quote-unquote good side of the Kyrian. I'm not entirely sure as to whether or not I would call them the good side as of yet, because they don't seem to have any... They haven't done anything out of their way to suggest they are good. They do things very strictly. This is how it is, very similar to the Army of Light. There's no doubting that the Army of Light did good things. Whether or not they themselves were good is an entirely different concept. Here we learn more about Lissonia's fall to the Forsworn, if you will, and once again we get a shrouded figure. This is, as I've said previously, part of the pronoun game. We get a lot of "you endured this," or "how do you do it?" It's not giving us an actual name, it's not giving us something that we can really connect to as of yet. However, it is important to note the model. Noting the model of the shrouded figure is important for later, and for eagle-eyed viewers, I will point it out at a later date. We do learn, however, that Lissonia doesn't become a Forsworn until she already has gained her wings. So, at this point, she's already gone through the Ascended Trials, she's already forgotten a lot of her previous memories, and then she becomes Forsworn. Is this something that hints at a potentially broken training regimen or something along those lines, or is it something that we could potentially see as a way that we can fix them if they became a Forsworn after they became sort of the ascended Kyrian, if you will, with their wings? Is there a way to bring them back? Obviously, with these soul mirrors, it does show us a lot more recent memories. Again, we don't know if this was something that happened yesterday or if this was something that happened 100 years ago. One little bug I do want to point out here in this video: one of the objectives for the area's kill quest, the hostile recollection bonus objective, actually appears to disappear as you get closer to the Vault of Memory, so it's actually impossible for you to click it for the Vault of Memory, which can be slightly annoying. Moving into the final soul mirror here on this quest, we actually start to uncover a little bit more of a closely connected story to the Temple of Purity. It does seem to be this is the most recent image. We do see Uther there, we also see Lissonia, and we see the shrouded figure. It appears as though Uther is not included in some of the deeper plans that we have with Lissonia, but I'm sure those are going to be explored in a future quest line. At this point, Locust Keeper Nemesis shows up once again to deny us the rest of the vision, and we have an idea from Mechanikos to reprogram him, if you will. Unfortunately, reprogramming him involves us just straight up fighting Nemesis. It's not a particularly difficult fight, it's not particularly tough, it just appears to be almost a slight distraction from the storyline that we have going on at this point in time. I would have liked to have seen them do something slightly different, maybe something slightly smarter, something akin to the battle that you have with Mechatork during the Battle of Dazara Lore. I'd like to see something like that. It does seem as though to go through an area that has a bonus objective, which technically you don't have to do, but involves a whole lot of killing, to then go and fight Locust Keeper Nemesis without any extra abilities. Again, this is alpha, this could be unfinished. We're not entirely sure as to how much Bastion is going to change, but fingers crossed it doesn't change that much. This whole stretch of Bastion does, to me, seem to be the weakest, and I think it's because there's very little in between actually killing creatures and learning a lot about Lissonia. There's not a massive amount we learn. Hopefully in the next part, though, we're going to learn a lot more about Lissoni and what the future can hold. My name has been Kexman, and I will see you guys next time.